Sair da escola já com uma formação profissional no currículo? Parece bom demais pra ser verdade, né? Pois é. No ensino técnico do Senac, isso é possível. É ensino médio junto com formação técnica, que acontece durante os 3 anos. Lá, eles usam metodologia para projetos, desenvolvendo competências como resolução de problemas, pensamento crítico e colaboração, além de valores éticos e sustentáveis. Quer saber? Senac. Acesse sp.senac.br/ensino médio e saiba mais.
Não é tempo técnico, mas é intervalo aqui no podcast. Já imaginou se seu time tivesse um seguro para não perder nunca? Pois é, isso não existe. Mas com a Zurich Seguros, quem não perde nunca é você. Na Zurich Seguros, os planos se adequam às suas necessidades em qualquer momento da sua vida. Seja seguro de auto, residência, vida e muito mais. Diferente de alguns times, na Zurich Seguros você pode confiar. Para saber mais, acesse zurich.com.br ou consulte seu corretor.
Counted it, it's up to 65 grades, so belts and bars. Hello, I'm your host, Les Bubka. Welcome to Anxious Black Belt, a podcast that focuses on karate, mental health, and everything in between. If you enjoy our content and would like to support us, best way to do that is to listen to another episode, share with your friends, and leave us a review. All this stuff helps the mysterious algorithm to introduce our podcast to new audience. Thank you for joining me, and let's listen to the episode. Recently, my son been promoted in BJJ to 2 stripes. When the coach was explaining the structure of the belts for juniors in BJJ, I was astonished how many belts they have. So I counted it, it's up to 65 grades, so belts and bars on the belt, which is a lot. And I was thinking and looking into the other martial arts if they have a similar situation, because I don't teach children. So I looked on the junior grades in karate, and for example, Kyokushin got the 20 Q grades for juniors up to black belt. Shotokan got the 31 grades, so that including the belts and the stripes. Taekwondo has 29, and the BJJ have 65. And I understand, and I really appreciate the coach explaining that students can jump the grades based on their abilities, behavior, attendance, taking part in competitions. So it is not kind of linear growth, and you have to do each one by one and be charged for it. So obviously in the adults BJJ, most of the gyms that I know don't charge for gradings, but in children they do. There's a small fee, but if you want to pay for every grade till they are 15, 65 times whatever the price is, it's a substantial amount of money. And I was kind of surprised that it's so many grades and bars and everything. But I think if you look at it, they've got a very micro breakdowns of the technique. So the first examination for my son was only 4 positions, right? So the mount, the side control, knee on the belly, and a seat belt, so taking the back. So that was for first grade. And if you break everything like that, it might be a lot of grades. I see in karate as well, people adding the badges or bars for the behavior, attendance as well, their willingness to help others. So it is kind of popular way of motivating children, which obviously everybody knows that children have a 5 minutes attention span, so they need that motivation coming constantly, and they've got some targets to achieve. But is 65 needed? I don't know. But that made me to look into the grades for adults as well. And as we know, most of the Japanese martial arts like karate, taekwondo, got those 10 Q grades. So you're going from 10th to the first dan, and then from the first dan you've got 10 towards, and usually people losing their cool when one of the groups is giving more downgrades, so you're going to 11 downgrades. Or in Poland there is a case of a tsunami karate where they decided to do 20 Qs, and people were saying that it is a rip-off and extracting money and so on and so on, which to a degree I agree as well. If you look at the Japanese ninjutsu system, their system is, I think, 15 grades, 15 downs, because it's based on the elements. So you've got the different nature elements, and each got the 5 elements within, and it's in like 3 groups and stuff like that. So they always had a 15 grades within. People as well saying this is not right, because it meant to be only 10. Why is it only 10? Or it came from judo, and I believe that some form of karate had only 5 grades, so starting from the green belt or white, green, and brown. I think in Kyokushin it's a white belt is not counted, and then you're starting with the orange belt as a 10th Q, so you need to earn that 10th Q. In BJJ again, you've got 20 grades. It's more than in karate. I think nobody's picking on that, because obviously the level of BJJ players is much higher than other martial artists. But it takes about 12 years to achieve a black belt in BJJ, and that used to be the same in the karate. So myself, I done it, my black belt after 11 years of consistent training. In BJJ, you've got only white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and between that you've got the bars. For us in karate, is very similar. So we've got the white with stripes, then you've got the yellow with stripes, green with stripes, brown with stripes. But if you look on the amount of grades, so in BJJ you've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to get to the black belt, and in karate you've got only 10. So realistically, if you're going through the grading within karate, that takes you to the black belt after 4 years of training twice a week, you should be really compared to a blue belt in BJJ. And I think that's where people getting really, really upset, because karate black belt is done much quicker than a black belt in BJJ. So you've got a less experience, less fights. Obviously, this is a different level of fighting, but in those traditional Japanese martial arts, or in taekwondo, or something based on the Japanese system, the grading goes much faster, and obviously the abilities of people are not equal to a slower program where you've got the more experience when you're reaching that black belt. So it's kind of not really comparable. I know that people love to compare black belt to black belt, but really black belt is only the guide within the group. Nowadays there's so many different groups with so different quality of training, and some people just flying through every 3 months. I see that one of my friends' child going for a local karate club, and every 3 months, regardless if she's ready or not ready, she's put through the grade and charge money, and yeah, so she's gonna be black belt very, very quickly. And is this black belt really comparable to the black belt who spent 4 years, um, 5 years training regularly, not being pushed just to be promoted every three months? I don't think they are really comparable. Same with the BJJ for my son, for example. um, they had to be allowed to grade. So it's not given to everybody. You need to earn the right to grade. Only then you can come take the test and then be awarded that grade. But there's a lot of clubs out there that are businesses, which is nothing wrong with it, but they, like in every business, some are quality businesses, the other are not. And I see a lot of, especially with kids, it's just a way of making money, keeping kids happy, keeping parents happy because they've got a little bit more time for working, and the kids are in after school club, which does not teach them karate. Is just keeping their interest and filling the time with karate like exercises. But then those people getting the higher grades, they're moving on, they go into different schools, and they see that unfortunately the level is not up to scratch, and that they might lose interest and leave the karate, which is kind of making disservice to karate. And then they're growing up and they're saying, "Oh, this was rubbish, waste of time. Why should I practice karate?" And kind of impacting what we do as adults, and that's why the karate got a really poor image amongst the adults, and it's more difficult to get adults to the karate club. For myself, we don't do payments for grading. You can be only awarded a grade after a year. If you're over exceeding the expectations and you're putting effort and you really, really try, you might be promoted after 6 months, but that's happening very, very rarely. And it's for those people who really put the effort into the training. Belt system and stuff, like I said, it's surprising to me that it's so many belts in a BJJ overall, especially for kids. But I understand that you need to keep motivation high for children, and I suppose it's the same with rainbows and brownies and cubs, where they've got lots of badges for different activities, and children have to get them via some kind of a challenge. So I suppose that's the way of education for children, and this is the way to go. And it seems to be working because the BJJ class where my son attends, it's full. They actually have to split the groups and got two different groups with full mat. So it's nice to see. My son really, really enjoys it. And if kids enjoy the classes, that's all good. Then the parents are happier, and I don't mind paying for a grading once every 6 months in BJJ. I probably wouldn't be that happy to be pushed towards gradings every 3 months and paying quite a lot more for a karate grading or taekwondo grading or kung fu grading compared to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But like I said, I'm a bit different in relation to the gradings and stuff, and I don't charge for gradings, so I'm not gonna be having very successful business, I don't think. But this is how I do, and everybody is different. Everybody's got their own ways, and if the clients or students are happy and it's all transparent to them, why not? If you've got a successful business, people just want to come in and quickly go through the grades, have fun, not necessarily do a serious karate, then it's all good. If all the parties involved are clear in their goals and what they are on offer, what they do, and what they get, then there is no problem. The problem starts when this all being missold, that you are gonna be a legitimate black belt, but then you come and you actually know nothing because you've been just missold, really missold. So again, if you would like to support our fundraiser for a defibrillator. We are halfway through. I'm hoping that the end of January we will gonna be able to grab that defibrillator. And hopefully our project's gonna start in New Year. I had a meeting today with our community well-being team, and we have confirmed 2 projects for me privately, but our CIC is still waiting for approval, but everything looks good. I've got few meetings this week that hopefully gonna result in some positive stuff for the CIC, and we're gonna start providing the community with a lots of cool stuff, helping people from disadvantaged backgrounds, women, and people with disabilities. So positive end of the year. If you would like to send me some questions for a end of the year podcast, please do so. I'm gonna start recording next week, as the last episode will be first Q&A. I've got just over 10 questions, so I'm looking forward to share my thoughts and answer your questions. Hopefully you're going to be satisfied with the answers and going to be interesting. But if you would like to some more, send it over, and I'm going to have a think about it and answer them. Well done for listening to all of it. You are a superhero. Thank you very much for your support. And if you could leave us that review on a podcast platform, that would be amazing. I appreciate your time, appreciate your support, and I wish you all the best until the next one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.